So since starting my YouTube channel a couple years ago, I began to notice something as I would create different videos. I noticed that there was one particular artist that it seemed my audience just really connected with. And that every time I would make a video that would even remotely talk about this artist, I would get more views on it. There would be more interest, more comments, and all of that. And I was like, I wonder why that is. This artist doesn't seem that crazy popular when you put this person's Spotify streams next to other artists. But then at the end of 2022, when Spotify does their Spotify Wrapped, thing with your top 100 songs and all of that jazz, great stuff from Spotify. I love it. One of the lists they gave was, I think, a top 5. Yeah, it was a top 5 list of the top artists that other artists listen to the most, right? So these are the artists. And Phoebe Bridgers was on that list. And then I was like, oh, that's why. That's why my audience loves Phoebe so much. She is a musician's musician. She's a writer's writer. She's an artist's artist. Artists love Phoebe Bridgers. And so, yeah, that was very interesting to me when I saw that on that playlist. I was like, that it all makes sense now. And so, obviously, since I'm here to serve you guys, I need to make an insights video on Phoebe Bridgers. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share my top 3 insights that I have learned from Phoebe Bridgers. And so here we go. The first insight from Phoebe Bridgers is the metaphor dance. So this is the idea of towing the line between the expected and the unexpected. So here's what I mean. Phoebe does a really good job of what I conceptualize as keeping one foot on Earth and one foot kind of out there in the universe, like out there exploring, but one foot is still grounded. And the reason I say that is because her lyrics are plenty colorful, right, with lots of interesting metaphors, but she always keeps it reeled in with one foot on the earth. And what that does is it keeps her songs more relatable. They're more easy to digest. Now, when a song is super easy to digest, it's kind of a basic pop song. Now, I love pop. I am obsessed with that Taylor Swift song with Lana Del Rey, Snow on the Beach. If that's what pop is, I am all in. Literally this morning, I had that on repeat for like an hour, right? I'm not against pop. But this sort of is a critique of some pop songs, is they tend to be too easy to digest. And now this is all relative, this is all subjective, but I would say that's, a basic understood truth that pop songs generally are pretty easy to digest. Okay. Now, when a song is very difficult to digest, that might make you think of like a very experimental, psychedelic type of vibe that is kind of like wild and all over the place, and you really don't know what to expect, right? There's a whole lot more variability. Now, what Phoebe does that is just perfect is she does a great job of finding her place on that spectrum where she's towing that line in this really musical and beautiful way. She keeps one foot grounded on earth and then the other foot kind of in the creative, like unexplored ether, if you will. And a couple songs I want you to go check out are, number 1 is Scott Street. Just go read the lyrics. Go read the lyrics of these songs. Another one is Savior Complex. So I'm just going to read you a quick part of the lyrics on that song, Savior Complex. Emotional affair, overly sincere, smoking in the car, windows up. So that's all kind of grounded, right? But then she goes, crocodile tears, run the tap till it's clear. And then it becomes in this more like kind of out of left field line. And that's the idea. It's like you ground it just enough to keep it relatable so that you don't completely lose the listener. But then you bring in the unexpected. Another example of this is the song Funeral by Phoebe Bridgers. So here is a lyric from that song. And I have this dream where I'm screaming underwater while my friends are waving from the shore. And I don't need you to tell me what that means. I don't believe in that stuff anymore. So it's got this beautiful dance between, you know what she's talking about, but you don't really know for sure, right? That is the dance that is happening here. And it is this idea of towing the line between the expected and the unexpected. So that's insight number one I learned from Phoebe Bridgers. The second insight is the evolving chorus technique. Phoebe does a really good job of keeping you engaged where there are no boring, monotonous repetitions in her songs. There is never a place in a Phoebe Bridgers song, and I don't think there ever will be, that will urge you to skip the song. Or if it does, it's never going to be because, oh, this is too boring and repetitive. So let's unpack this. So let's talk about a couple of her songs where this is very clearly the case. And I specifically called this the evolving chorus technique. So let's take her song Motion Sickness. If you go read the lyrics and you listen to that song, notice how every chorus is uniquely defined and it's different from the one that came before. Chorus 1 starts out, I have emotional motion sickness. Somebody roll the windows down. Now, here's an interesting thing. Chorus 2 of Motion Sickness, it stays the same for the first part of the chorus, but chorus 2 is just twice as long. And so the second half of chorus 2 is just new lyrics. And then chorus 3 is new lyrics except for the first line. So the opening line stays the same. I have emotional motion sickness. And then all the other lines in the rest of chorus 3 are completely new. So it's this idea of evolving your chorus and never singing this exact same thing twice. Now, this is not a rule. You don't need to do this. I'm just sharing you an insight from Phoebe Bridgers that I think you might find incredibly helpful. A lot of songs don't do this, and you don't have to do this either. But this is something to keep in mind and something that you might want to try on your next song. Just food for thought. And then there's a similar thing in her song, Demi Moore. Chorus 1 goes, I don't want to be alone, don't want to be alone anymore. Chorus 2 goes, I don't want to be stoned, I don't want to be stoned anymore. And then it goes, I don't want to be alone, I don't want to be alone anymore. So it's like the opposite of what happened, or it's the reverse of motion sickness, where you actually create the first half of chorus 2 is the new part, and then the back half is chorus 1 again. So super interesting stuff when it comes to the choices and the decisions here when it comes to the songwriting by Phoebe Bridgers, and I love it. It's really, really great stuff. And so that is insight number 2 that I've learned from Bridgers. Just a fantastic move is to keep your choruses evolving, even to the point of changing the lyrics completely. And that's actually, there's one more example of that, and that's Kyoto. Phoebe's song Kyoto, both choruses in that song have completely different lyrics. And so, yeah, go implement this, go try this out, and see if you can create a song that completely changes when it comes to chorus 1 versus chorus 2 versus chorus 3. And so there you go. That is insight number 2 from Phoebe Bridgers. Insight number 3 to bring this home is lean into your story. When I was doing some research for this video, I came across Phoebe Bridgers in an interview, and she was talking about how she tends to write in a very autobiographical way and almost by necessity. She has a hard time, or it's just not as natural for her, rather, to write through the lens of a character, say like you would write for a movie and all that. She just writes autobiographically. And I think that's just a basic lesson that we can all take, that we can all apply. It's the most sure way to write a song that is believable, that you can go sing on stage and you can confidently say, I believe this, as if you just are autobiographical. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with writing through the lens of a story. And in this case, in the song that I'm creating here in this course, this song in particular isn't necessarily autobiographical. It's more, I don't know who the character is yet. Like, I'm still trying to figure it out. I just kind of put it into a song, put the words there, put the music there, and I'm still not sure what it's about. But I love that. Like, that is beautiful to me. I love that feeling of you're creating art, and as the artist, you don't even know what it's about. That gives me chills. I absolutely love that idea. And anyway, so I digress. Let's come back to the main point here, which is The ability to lean into your story is such a powerful way to convey that believability and that connection to the audience and to the listener. Because this is when you're vulnerable. This is when you wear your heart on your sleeve. This is when you're honest, is when you become truly and deeply autobiographical and you just lean into your story. So there you go, my friend. Lean into your story is the third insight. Second insight is the evolving chorus technique. And the first insight was the metaphor dance, towing the line between the expected and the unexpected. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope this inspired you to go binge some Phoebe Bridgers albums over the next few days. Trust me, it's gonna be worth every second. I'm a huge fan, and I know many of you guys are as well. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a few things. If you did, leave a comment and let me know what you learned and how this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.